Hey everyone, it's Jay.
And Sean.
And we've got a couple of new releases for you today. So, shall we start with what's on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay. A documentary is on Netflix called
Have a Good Trip.
Adventures in Psychedelics.
It's not a documentary.
Yeah. I'm using quotes. They do not. Netflix thinks it's a documentary. Someone tried to sell it that way. And I mean, I guess it's a collection of real stories.
Yeah.
But it is not going to enlighten you. It is not going to learn you anything. It's not even trying.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, Nick Offerman is the scientist.
Yes.
So that tells you all you really need to know, I think.
Probably.
Love
yes.
Nick Offerman, but
yes, we do.
He's no scientist.
Right. So what it basically is sort of a scrapbook, a visual scrapbook. I guess most scrapbooks are visual. This one is on Netflix. You press play and just a bunch of celebrities, mostly comedians, tell you about that time they got high. So in particular, dropping acid, eating mushrooms.
Yes, hallucinogens is the
That's
category
right.
that they're talking about.
Oh, yes.
And talking about.
Oh, yes, that is true. So, I mean, if you like these comedians, and there are plenty of them, you might enjoy hearing a story or two. But let's be real. They're not super great stories.
No, because they're on drugs.
That's right. And people on drugs have no taste.
No,
Like,
they just
really?
do weird stuff and stare at their hand and look in the mirror or don't look in the mirror. Either way.
That's right. They just go into a weird trance for 6 hours and then they struggle to put it into words, and then somebody called that a documentary.
Because they had a good time, mostly.
Mostly. I mean, almost everyone who admitted to having several bad times as
That's
well.
true.
But they were telling us
They told
about the good ones.
times. Yeah.
Except for Ben Stiller, who only ever had one time, and it was bad enough that he never did it again. Even though it doesn't seem that horrible, but he did adorably have to call his daddy.
Jerry Stiller, the late, great Jerry Stiller.
Right, the very recently deceased. I think he died the day we watched this. So it was kind of sweet to hear this little story about him talking little Benny through a trip.
Yeah, from the scene of The Love Boat.
That's
so
right.
both Ben's
He and his
parents
wife
were filming a Love Boat episode while Ben decided to experiment with acid.
And his dad had to talk him through it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a sweet
Even
story.
though his dad, I think, is pretty... I don't want to call him square, but...
Yeah, well,
no
I think that's in the documentary.
Whatsoever.
The documentary.
Yes.
Yeah. He can't really relate, but he's doing his best.
Yes, he is surprisingly non-judgmental, just tells his son it's going to be okay, and it was. So, a lot of the stories are kind of boring and they don't really go anywhere. If you feel like you might enjoy hearing an anecdote from Carrie Fisher or Anthony Bourdain, those are in this movie.
They are, and it's weird because there's no acknowledgement that either of these two people has died. And unlike Jerry Stiller, these two people had died a long time ago. This movie could have had something about that, but it's just totally absent.
So this movie's been in the cooker for quite some time.
Clearly.
Which, I don't know what they were doing with it.
No, I mean, there's some animated parts.
True.
But
a couple of the stories are animated. A couple of the stories are reenacted.
Some by the actor or comedian. Some by another actor or comedian.
Yes. So, I thought it was funny. I think it was Paul Scheer and Rob Corddry.
Yeah, that's right. They did each
played
other.
each other.
That was one of the good
That
parts
was
of the
kind
movie.
of good.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll played himself. And his buddies were played by, I think, male models.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
They must have been, yeah. That's certainly what he's going for. I mean, maybe that's his life.
Maybe
we don't know for sure.
Just seeing a bunch of models
hanging on the beach,
mushrooms.
eating, and wrapping themselves in kelp.
Seaweed. which apparently is a bad idea. High or not. Anyways, we didn't super love this. It kind of felt pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's not terrible, and if you like the comedians, Marc Maron, I mean, everybody.
There's tons of people.
Sarah Silverman. There are tons. Lewis Black.
Sting.
Sting. Yes, and a couple of non-comedians. Deepak Chopra.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But you're not going to learn anything. It's not pro or con. It doesn't take a stance. It's just a collection of not very interesting stories.
Yeah. The only time it tries to take a stance is it spoofs like the 80s. Well, not just 80s, but I grew up in the 80s, so those are the ones that I knew of. This is your brain on drugs and the infomercials and the more you know, but it doesn't do a great job of it.
The Reagan era kind of
terror. If you do drugs, you will immediately go crazy and then possibly die or wish you were dead.
That's right.
It's a hard sell.
This is your brain on drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Nick Offerman eats it.
That's right. It was a good sandwich.
Hey. No judgment.
You can do worse.
Oh boy. So another thing we watched was over on Amazon Prime.
That's right.
I mean, they're both on our TV. We don't physically have to go anywhere for it.
No, we just have to push a couple buttons. It's not too bad.
That's right. So this was also a new release that's kind of exciting to talk about. It's called Selah and the Spades.
Yes, it is. So it's a bunch of high school kids at a private school who are also in factions, which to me are just apparently gangs that run the school. Yes. And the principal is unable to have any real power because the gangs are making all the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty messed up. I had a hard time getting to believe that they were in high school. Like, it felt like it must be at least college, but it's not. It's high school. The 5 factions felt to me like they were mobs. Like, this is like the Italian, and there are dons. Each of the factions.
Yeah, they have meetings. They have faction meetings where they have sort of a truce.
An entente, an alliance
sometimes. It's like the UN Security Council.
They are very competitive.
Yes, they are.
And so Selah, our protagonist, although I'm having trouble with that word. Our protagonist, the girl the movie is named after, the girl we follow, she is the dawn of the biggest of the factions, the most important, the Spades. She's got a consigliere in Maxie, her good friend. But other than that, she doesn't really, even though she's undoubtedly the most popular girl in the school because of her place, she doesn't really seem to have a lot of friends, doesn't trust anyone.
Well, she's not likable.
No.
She's really an unlikable character.
Yes. She does rule with an iron fist.
She's ruthless, too. Yes. She can have no friends because she will throw you under the bus if she needs to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a good mob boss knows that everyone else is expendable.
That's true.
Well, that's the thing, is that this movie takes itself so seriously. Which on the one hand is kind of refreshing to take teenagers seriously, because so many of these movies can be so vapid, and it's like, okay, stop talking down to teenagers. They're not idiots.
No, you're not stupid as a teenager. You make dumb decisions, but for good reasons at the time.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, life is hard when you're that young. And it's real hard at their school, let me tell you.
Yes.
There is some mean shit going down.
Yes, there is. It is warfare.
Yes. And Selah is very stressed because she's a senior and she has no one to pass the baton to. And for some reason, this is like really a bad problem. So she ends up adopting a protege, Paloma, who does a little too good of a job.
Yes.
Because she's a little bit more likable. Yeah, and it turns out that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, like people do actually relate to her and then start like trusting her and helping her out. And that is a threat.
And she gets stuff done.
Yeah, she does.
She's not a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's nice.
She's kind of nice.
You get more bees with honey? Is that a thing?
Yeah, but clearly Selah is one of those murder hornets.
The murder hornet, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's this world, this universe feels heightened. It's a little, deliberately, I think, more than just a regular high school, meant to point out these sort of flaws in the system, in the cliques, or whatever you want to call them. But I really wanted to like it, and I kept seeing things that I loved. But as a whole, the movie felt kind of slow to me and kind of boring. And then we get to the end, and the end feels like where the movie maybe should have began.
Yeah, I think so. I think that could have been a more interesting movie, and the problem is, I agree, it's slow, it's boring. There's no character development, especially for Selah.
Well, that's why I'm not sure, she's certainly posed as our protagonist. That's who we know, that's who we're following. And yet, in the end, she gets treated like an antagonist. She gets a lesson slapped in her face, but isn't allowed to have any growth of it.
Well, no, because the movie ends at that point. And
so
it would have been way better if there was that conflict initially, because then you can see where things go from there. That does actually get interesting. Whereas up to that point, yeah, it's just her kind of being mean and trying to keep her power, which is fine, but that's not a whole movie.
It's hard to root for her. It's hard to root for anyone. It's also hard to know her. And I think the writer-director was holding stuff back that maybe too much.
Yes, there is a reveal at the end, or near the end, that could have come much earlier, and again, would have made it more interesting, because then you understand what's in the background of this and why she is being the way she is, and maybe what the other people have to worry about.
Yes. It's a hard movie to discount. I think there's a lot of talent there, both from the director and the young cast, who
They're really good.
had no problems
No,
with.
the actors are all really good. It works in that way. But yeah, it's missing something, this movie.
Yes, there was a final ingredient and it never quite made it in. But I think it's a directorial debut, so I think that there is a reason to watch her in future stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And maybe this is one to learn from and grow from. And again, if there was more growing in the movie, that would have been something, I think, that would have helped. And it just wasn't, we didn't see it.
Right. So that one's on Amazon Prime. The Trip is over on Netflix. Maybe if you were tripping, you might enjoy Selah a little more. You think?
I don't know. I think you'd probably just be lost, really.
Yeah, but you'd have a good time.
Well, yeah.
Because this movie is so serious. It takes itself very seriously. It's not having a good time. High school is, there's no happiness there at all for anyone, it seems.
Not even at prom.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Tough for all the kids right now who are not getting
No
their
kidding.
proms.
That's awful.
I mean, not that I think they should go give COVID to each other at prom.
No, that's not the answer.
But I just mean,
that's a huge event in your life.
Some of these people are missing also their graduations. It's tough that these things are all in the same year.
Yeah.
But they're missing on some seminal,
those moments.
Experiences.
Yeah. It is sad. You get a talking point of this different thing, but it's
yes, that's right.
Kind of miss out in some stuff that you thought you were going to have. And I guess that's all of us in a way.
That's right. We're all dealing with a different world. And I don't know if everyone else is watching movies with this new filter, but how many times are we watching and we're like, stand 6 feet apart?
The social distancing. Yeah. Stop breathing on him.
Yes. It all feels really dirty and dangerous.
It does. It's so weird how it has changed.
Yes.
Where these little things, it will be interesting to see how we have going forward, because things will have to sort of reflect our new world.
It will be weird to see what movies come out from this.
Yeah.
This is the first really big historical event the whole world is in on. And there are going to have to be movies about it.
Yes, there are. That's what we do.
Wow, eh? It is. It is how we understand our world. We have to have we have to have a mirror held up to us so we can look at it more objectively and go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. High school is rough.
High school is rough, but we did already know that. This is not really adding a lot to that discussion, unfortunately.
No, but I mean, I liked the take on it. I thought it was a fresh spin. I just needed more.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right about just that one ingredient. Whatever that was, character development, or maybe that's it. That was sort of it for me.
I think that was a big one. Anyways, food for thought.
Something to do.
A little something during your quarantine.
Yeah, 2 that are all right.
2 that are all right, depending on your mood. Do one first, then the other.
Yeah.
You have to get the order right.
You do have to get the liquor before beer.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.